my colleague and I will talk about capital markets. But before we get started, my role is to sort of, just to give an introductory sort of remarks just about the market and about the opportunities, about investing. And then my colleague, whose name is actually James Mwangi, I mean, not to be confused with the James Mwangi, although I wish he'd have his money, you know, but wannabe. He'll talk about the careers and how you can actually get opportunities within the capital markets, okay? Now, before I get into it, you realize that at capital markets, we have a strategy that focuses on different target groups within Kenya. And you heard earlier that the youth in Kenya are the drivers of Vision 2030. In other words, by the time I'm retired, it's you guys that will be managing my portfolio, okay? So it's actually in my best interest to make sure that you understand investments within the capital markets. And I was actually giggling at the question, I think somebody asked the question, there's more to life than just stocks and bonds. No, there isn't. That is the key. Think about it. Of course, there are other professions, but if you think about capital, think about the flow of capital in an economy, okay? If you look at Kenya's economy, for example, although right now the market is down, okay, the market is volatile. Every time before an election year, the market goes down. And actually, a speculator would argue that now is the time to actually buy shares. Okay, not when the market's low, you buy, and then you sell when it's high. Okay? Now, you realize that we have a lot of products that we're introducing in the Kenyan market. It's not just vanilla products like stocks and bonds. We have real estate investment trusts. We have derivatives that are coming soon. We have exchange-traded funds. Okay? So there are all these, and then asset-backed securities, municipal bonds are coming in the market. So you'll have a whole area of different products within the Kenyan market, and you need professionals such as yourselves to manage those portfolios, of course, for a commission, okay? Now, let me put things in perspective. Now, when I talk about this, I'm not by any chance, I'm not supporting a particular company that I'm talking about, but can anyone tell me, for example, Safaricom shares, okay? We're talking about opportunities in capital markets. Safaricom shares, what's the lowest that the shares have been in the past 7 years? Anyone? I can hear. No, you can guess. You don't have to be right. We're a family. Let's have a chat. What's the lowest it's been? 3.5. About 3, yeah, about 3.5, correct? And what's the highest it's been in the past 1 or 2 years? 24. What percentage increase is that? I'm making you think at this time. You're like, whoops. Gotcha. What's the percentage increase? Let's say, for argument's sake, shall we say 400? Okay? Now, about 800. Can anyone tell me which investment asset class can appreciate by almost 600-700% in less than 5 years? That's legal. I mean, let's not talk about funny stuff out there. Don't say, I got a shipment coming in. No. What asset? Now, even if you talk about properties, if you look at properties, a property does not skyrocket like 300% as much as, like shares. So the point I'm making is that opportunities in the capital markets that can create wealth. And if you look at all the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, all the major investors, even locally, look at all the major investors. All their wealth is tied up to capital markets, and that's very important. Now, there's always something that's interesting. Everyone thinks that capital markets is for the wealthy. How many people think capital markets is only for an elite group of people? Be honest. So how many people have shares here, just out of curiosity? How many people don't care what I'm saying? It's like, shut up. No, but I mean, if you think about it, capital markets is a place where you can create wealth, and a lot of people have to realize. Now, I always do this experiment, okay? Bear with me for just 1 minute, okay? Can everyone raise your mobile phones right now? Your mobile phones. No, I'm going somewhere with this. Show us your mobile phones. There's a man with a bag. Kindly pick up the mobile phones for everyone. No, pick up your phones out here. Okay? Now, I want you to look at the mobile phone of the person next to you. Look at the mobile phone of the person next to you. No, I'm actually going somewhere with this, really. Okay? Now, when you look at the phone of the person next to you, okay, what do you think the cost of that phone was? How much do you think that person paid? No, really. How much do you think? Okay, how much, let's start with mine. How much is my phone here, roughly? Anyone? How much? 5,000, come on, man. Who said that? Give me some props, man. I'm not giving 5,000. How much do you think this is? 7? Oh, come on. Okay, let's forget this. Okay, now the phone next to you, what's the average cost of the phone next to you? About 15,000? 15,000? 20,000, right? I can bet you most people here have a mobile phone that's at least 20,000. And I bet you've got the fancy ones with about 100 grand. I know, and I can see them putting their head down. Okay, but the point I'm making, if you invested 20,000 in capital markets, that 20,000 will translate into increased wealth within a short period of time. You just have to be patient. And the mobile phone that you bought for 20,000 in about 4 years will be worth how much? No, if you buy a phone for 20 grand right now, how much is it worth in 4 years? That's about 4,500, right? And then there's a new phone that's come out, and you can't keep up with technology, okay? So you have to find another avenue of investing to sort of minimize your losses, okay? Now, we're not saying that you shouldn't invest in other asset classes, okay? By all means, you should have a balanced portfolio, which means you should have a bit of land, or you can go into agricultural products, but whatever you do, you have to hedge, you have to spread your risk, you have to get into capital markets. It's the only way that you can actually create wealth. There's no person who's actually created wealth by being safe. Gambling is not investing, so don't I know a lot of people that spend tons of money betting in sports, but you're better off using that money channeling to capital markets, okay? And finally, I'd like to mention that we have a lot of initiatives that we're doing targeting students. We've actually engaged Strathmore University quite often. We have a program where you can come to our office and we'll engage you. We normally have a capital markets open day, and I think some of you attended it at KICC. We recently launched, actually about 2 weeks ago, we launched the Resource Center portal, okay? You know that we've got a resource center at CMA in Upper Hill. If you can't make it there, you can actually log in to www.rcp.or.ke, and we have a resource center that has a lot of useful information, okay? And one of the things that we do is we often get calls from people asking about, I'm trying to do some research to buy some shares. Do you have any annual reports for companies? And we have put like 10 years worth of the annual reports of every listed company that's right there. And that's just one of the things that we have in the Resource Center portal. So I urge you to spend some time and come to Resource Center portal. And I can see her looking to bash me in my head right here. So without further ado, thank you. Asante.
So I've let James get on there because his job is to talk about careers, and I have a few questions here that are on careers.
All right.
So over to you.
Okay, good evening. My name is James, and I'll just be brief in the interest of time. Okay, in the Capital Markets Authority, we have your opportunities there, and the first one that we would want to challenge each and every one of you to partake is what we usually call the attachment. So we offer students attachment so that you can be able to take up an opportunity to just go there and try and relate what you do in class with what happens at the workplace. And you realize this is one of the areas that us as Africans, we all have actually been left behind by the Western world. If you go even to us as CMA and even other institutions, we usually receive applications from Germany, from offshore, those people who just want to come and do attachments. Our own people here in Kenya, actually in Africa, they do not see any need to do any attachment when they are doing their schoolwork. So the second opportunity for attachment, we usually actually give purely to students. We won't give you any attachment if you complete your studies and you're coming back, to CMA and you're asking us for an attachment. We won't give you. But what we will give you is what we call internship. So for attachment, we strictly limit them to 3 months. So you come here, you learn for 3 months, then you go back to school, and we do not limit it. You can come over and over. But of course, being a government institution, we usually try as much as possible to distribute the opportunities to everyone. So of course, we will not encourage someone to come for attachment in the first year. Second year, you're coming for another one, and then you complete, you come for an internship. So internship we give to those who have already completed their studies, or you have already graduated. So there are those people who are on transition, you have completed, but you haven't yet graduated. So we give them a maximum of 1 year internship. You just come here, we expose you, and without even marketing, Capital Market Authority, if there is any institution that I would dare you to, to try investing your time with, learning through them, I would tell you go and try Capital Market Authority. Because you can imagine we work with the public sector, but yet we regulate the private sector. So you can imagine, you have to be aware ahead of Safaricom, you have to be aware ahead of the banking institutions, you have to be aware ahead of all the listed companies and the stockbrokers and all that, in terms of the systems, in terms of the processes, and in terms of the people. So we usually even go for the talent so that we know we get the right people with the right mix of skills that we want. Number 3, we have temporary positions that we usually advertise so that if you are finished your studies and you want to get some, some job to learn some skills and of course to earn some money, we give you some temporary positions that usually take 6 months maximum, but of course you can get an extension here and there depending on the need. Then lastly, we have the permanent positions. So we recruit also to fill the permanent positions that you can as well be exploring. How do you get this? Capital Markets Authority, like I have said, we are so transparent and we do our recruitment online. So we don't do, by the way, we don't do manual things without saying much. CMA, it's not that institution that you need to know an uncle there or to have an auntie there or to have a cousin there. You don't need to know anyone in the Capital Markets Authority. What you just need to know is the website for the capital markets. In our website, you go there, you will see our e-recruitment portal. And you will see all the vacancies that are existing at any given time. So you apply just from there, and you don't need actually to call anyone to say that, hey, I have applied, I've sent my application. We do the whole process online. The second thing that we do with our recruitment to ensure that we get the talent is that we don't do the traditional interviews that most of us have, of course, mastered, so that even when you go for an interview, you actually even want to answer the questions before you asked, because you have mastered them. Capital Market Authority, we check on 4 things, which we don't do interviews. We do what we call assessment centers. We check on your skills. So we check on whether we are getting the right skills from you. We check on your knowledge, whether you have the right knowledge for the particular positions that we are interviewing or assessing for. Then we check on your behaviors, and finally, the attitudes. In the interest of time, I think I'll just add there.
We recently launched the Emma Kiba, which is allows you to go on your mobile phone and purchase a bond, okay? And we've also introduced a concept, and actually you'll benefit from this because we call it a regulatory sandbox. And what we're talking about is where young people with technology skills, and in terms of financial technology, fintech, people who've got ideas, we won't stop you from actually executing the ideas. What we'll say is, we'll let you come into the market in a test sort of database with a few customers, and you'll test whatever application you have just to make sure it's viable before we can actually release it to the public. We're dealing more with a lot of stockbrokers that have more online capability, so you don't have to come to the broker. You can actually do it with your mobile phone. You can open a CDS account. So it is something that we're definitely working with.
We encourage all the students, actually. We don't even limit to college or to universities. Even Form 3 or Form 4 student can come for attachment.
Okay. I should have taken that one. All right, one of this is also for you. It says, as students with minimum knowledge on stocks and how bonds move, how can we participate in the market efficiently? What are some of the avenues other than direct trading? Okay,
That's a very good question. You know, contrary to what people believe, that you have to be an expert in the market, you know, in order to participate, is not really true. One of the things that I encourage you to do, in fact, in terms of financial technology, is participate in the NSE challenge, which gives you like a virtual, you know, you log in online, you get virtual chips, and you actually get virtual companies that you can invest in. Another avenue is, if you come to our website, I work in a department called Investor Education and Public Awareness, and my job every day is to make sure that we take this complicated information and simplify it in layman's terms to make sure that you understand it. If you visit our website at www.cma.or.ke and go to Investor Education, we have a lot of information and our contacts you can get there.